smoke is quieting down. Seems like we've got to a lot of the smoke. Dub, you got smoke?
Yo, I ain't gonna lie to you. I ain't even gonna lie to you. Joe is like Bill Belichick. Remember when Bill Belichick was on the Patriots and he just kept drafting a bunch of like who the fuck is who the fuck? Yet them niggas was all playing well in his system. He would get us a random wide receiver, turn that nigga into Wes Welker. Like he would just get people and turn them into stars. Joe is smart. Joe is like, yo, I'm gonna get all of y'all. All right, we gotta keep milking this money tree. Okay. Y'all got girlfriends? All right, bring y'all girlfriends over here. Come on. Bring them over here. Bring them over here. Let's go. Yo, y'all got kids? Y'all got kids? All right, cool. Let's do a parenting class. Y'all parents alive? All right, come over here. Let's do mama, daughter, daddy, son therapy. Nah, Joe got it. And I like it for Joe because I think it's his own network. It's pretty much, he's turned Patreon to his own network. Kudos to him. For the fellas, I don't know if that number is true, but if it is true, do not get mad at Joe. Y'all don't deserve none of it. But you deserve a raise, a slight raise, you know what I mean? I'm not gonna tell y'all how much, but a little raise, okay? And if it's the first time y'all seen those numbers, I'll move on. All right.
Yo, I thought Joe and Ack was cool. I don't know, man. Things looking a little funny now, you know. Academics may be trying to create an enemy or something. Now, listen. A few days ago on Spaces, I was talking to Joe and I told him, yo, Academics, he been throwing a couple shots at you. Now, Joe was like, yo, bet, Deb, I'm going to sleep on it. So I'm like, all right, cool, it ain't about nothing. Now, a couple hours later, Joe went on his IG and he, put a screenshot up of his Patreon. The dashboard up, but he blacked out a lot of stuff. However, with the AI and everything, how everything is now, somebody threw that in the app and unblacked it out and, showed, some of his real numbers. Now, the numbers was a little blurry, but it showed that he's making a little over 902,000 a month with the Patreon subscribers. Now, that's just Patreon. We ain't talking about YouTube. We ain't talking about merch. We ain't talking about nothing else. We ain't talking about brand deals. We ain't talking about nothing, right? Now, if your boss leaked a cash-heavy paycheck screenshot, how would y'all react on Monday morning, right? Would y'all demand a raise or would y'all polish up the resume to get up out of there? Let me know. Drop a bread in the comment if y'all want that bread and drop a door if y'all getting up out of there. Let me know, right? Now, within hours, DJ Academics, he fired up on his stream and congratulated Joe. Then he loaded the clip a little bit, right? He started talking about somebody over there was making $5,000 a month. Now, a couple weeks ago, he was shooting at Mark Lamont Hill. I think he did say something about Mark was making $5,000 a month. So maybe he was talking about Mark, but he kept saying, I ain't shooting shots at Mark. I ain't shooting shots, but he kept referring to that 5,000. So I don't know. And he said, you got to start watching these people over there now because they about to start moving funny. Now, he also said, remember how Joe switched up on the Spotify deal. He said this is kind of the same playbook. When you learn that, people making more money, you start moving funny, right? He also said if he was the crew, he probably would start stealing hubcaps off of Joe's Ferraris and all of that. Gaslighting them, you know what I'm saying? Just making it feel like, they deserve more. Now, DJ Academics, he reacts to the leak quickly, right? He also questions, if everybody going to start monitoring Joe's bag. And I don't know. Now, which JBP co-hosts do you guys predict will pop off first if the pay don't land, right? If they don't get a bump, who you think gonna act crazy? Let me know. Who you think is gonna be Ice, Ish, Parks, Flip? I know Flip definitely gonna say something. Now, in 2020, right, he had the Spotify fallout. Joe walked away when he felt the split was unfair. Right? And that was a move that ultimately birthed these crazy, massive Patreon checks that he's getting today. Right? In 2021, he had the fallout with Rory and Maul over the account and the transparency. It's crazy that he was very transparent with the world before he was transparent with Rory and Maul. That is really crazy. And in 2025, he got new cars, Ferraris, Rollses, and the same problems. Right? Everybody's watching the luxury purchases. Everybody is seeing it. Now everybody's wondering, is the cruise plates as full as Joe's driveway, right? Every time the money conversation leaks into public view, morale shifts. Academics isn't guessing. We've all seen it. It's a pattern. You know, have you ever found out your coworker's salary and then you instantly started viewing the office politics differently? Like, nah, I see you over there with Sheila and, I see you over there with her in the break room and now she getting more money? Nah, you trying to holler. That's why Sheila getting that pay, right? That's how it be. Now, listen, we got to get into this other joint because DJ Academics, he was just letting it all be known. Look at the files. Now, while this payday circus played out at the Joe Budden podcast, right? Academics had a harder question to ask. And it was, why do Joe, Charlamagne, and Mark Lamont Hill go radio silent whenever Roc Nation catches heat? Oh my God. Spicy. 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 Listen, the latest heat, right? Damori Hadley, the daughter of Roc Nation CEO Desiree Perez, filed a lawsuit claiming her mother used her influence to have her involuntarily committed under Florida's Baker's Act, right? Had her committed into a mental health facility using her influence. Nicki Minaj backed the daughter on X, hinting that she suffered similar silencing tactics, right? Now, yet, these three big figures, Mark Lamont Hill, Charlamagne, and Joe Budden, they all have something in common. They all love Roc Nation. They all love the big homie over there, right? Right? They barely talk about any of this stuff. It'd be like a moment of silence or a gag order was made of networking favors. I don't know. It's a question mark. Is it a smart strategy or cowardly journalism to skip stories that could sour elite connections? Let me know what you guys think in the comments, right? Now, ACT thinks the Patreon leak forces a conversation the crew can't ignore. Contract renegotiations, right? If Joe's clearing 7 figures a month, a 5 to 10K salary suddenly looks like crumbs, right? Right? Act said expect subtweets maybe. Some like, we're just joking. You may even hear them talking about, just all types of funny stuff. Little side eyes and all of that. Just all types of passive-aggressive energy. Now, should they stay on the JBP Titanic hoping for a bigger slice? Or should they launch solo lifeboats? Right? Now, Ack had a good idea. He did say that, each one of these people on the crew should pitch a show to Joe and do a profit split because Joe has a lot of people that's viewing his platform. That was a good idea from Academics, right? Academics also, I feel like he's moving like, you know how Joe says that phrase, I'm friends to none of you. You know what I mean? I feel like Ack is really doing that. Is somebody going to be like, yo, I need more. I talked about my mom. I talked about this. I talked about that. Everybody done talked about their moms up there. Word. It may get a little crazy up there. Right? Now, let me ask y'all a question. Another one. Should powerful platforms like this, Joe Budden Podcast, be required to cover every scandal? Or is selective coverage just realistic business, right? We're not going to talk about everything. Because we got these relationships. That's cool and all, but in my opinion, that's not real. That's just as a person that likes to hear news, right? You want to hear all news. Just imagine about what's going on in the world right now. Talking about, we're not going to talk about this because, nah, man. Let me hear all of that. Let me hear all of that, right? Let me know who you guys think is going to win in this little back and forth. You team Joe or you team Mac? I told Joe he gotta go crazy. Right? Shannon Sharp even threw a shot at Joe. Shannon Sharp was like, yo, Jim Jones, what podcast you been on that was bigger than this? Like, Jim Jones just wasn't on the JBP. Come on. I think they coming for the crown. Like Joe said, he don't need to be number one. Cool. That's valid. But sometimes you gotta let dudes know, like, listen, don't be trying to bark up this tree, homie. Stay over there. It's different over here. Just like your post, you said it's different. You gotta really, you know what I'm saying? Draw a line in the sand. Shannon Sharp is bugging out. Think that you ain't covering stuff. He coming at you and Charlamagne and Mark. But you know, he really shooting at you. Charlamagne ain't in the headlines like that how you are. Joe, get at him. Let me know what you guys think, man. And we'll be back with the files.
My guy Dub too. That's my man though.
Gang gang.
That's my man, Big Dub.